is billed as the ultimate sports podcast.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Everybody has been waiting.
I'm God gifted.
He's a bull. I'm the matador.
This is the Weekend Guy Podcast, and it begins now.
A note for Lyle Foster. Our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Can I play the devil's advocate on that one?
Yes.
That was a little bit shocking for me.
For everyone.
Yeah, that was a little bit shocking for me. Especially because we are South Africans. And we come from South Africa. Ne? And we don't come from a first world country. Ne? So I feel like if you have that kind of opportunity he has gotten, mental health should not be an issue. But that's a very controversial statement.
Yeah.
That would be a very, very controversial statement.
Tread lightly.
I'm treading very lightly, but we come from a third world country. And not many of us will get the same opportunity he has gotten to come from the second tier of English football and make it to the Premier League. And then when you're there, you bulk. Okay, something happens which has got something to do with your mentality or your mental pressure.
So for me, right, I won't even call it bulking, because if we look at that squad, he is the star player.
Yeah, he's a 9. He's a striker.
No, he's the performing player, right?
Yeah.
And to justify that, that's why they gave him then the 5-year contract.
Yes.
Because they know if they go down, other teams are going to come for him, right? The age, the profile, the style, and how he carries himself is very well. But the burden of expectation is something to consider, right? But also with you getting a new contract, with you playing in the English Premier League, right?
Yes.
That changes the dynamics of a lot of your personal relationships, right? He's been the star boy, let's say, in his family and carrying the torch, right? But more often than not, the demands of the English Premier League are like no other. And we don't know the people around him when he moved to that side. Is he with his family or he's alone? You know? So for me, we cannot look at it from a footballing perspective because he's delivering on that front. It's, for me, what is happening around him that should be
on that front of delivering on that front, the deliverance is always limited because you are off form and so on like that. So now, if you're gonna have the football is pressure enough, you add on a mental aspect to that. Some people get turned off. Like, okay, no, cool. We don't want that baggage. We know you can do with football, but remember what happens when he loses his form, for example? He's off form. Okay. Will he be able to cope and recover and come back if he's got mental issues like this?
So I say yes, he can, right?
And take into account the country he's coming from as well.
Yes, and the reason why I say yes, he's gonna come back and he's gonna come back stronger, is that yes, the life we have grew up in forces you to be tough.
Yes.
Right? But
the country.
Yes. But in this modern day sporting world, I won't even just put it football world, right? Physical health is as important as mental health. You know? And if this was 10 years ago, what you're saying, I'd be like, maybe other sporting clubs will be looking at this as a downer, right? But internally, all elite football clubs, just football clubs should have a department that focuses on the mental aspect, right? So it's a thing of, this is another form of an injury that can be rehabilitated over time, as well as it's monitored. But for me, it's kudos to him for addressing it instead of trying to deal with it alone
in isolation.
So maybe he's gonna be fine, I hope.
Maybe that's what happened to all the other players, all John and so on.
Yes, because
we never took into account that there's that aspect of it.
Because we were fortunate to grow up in a Model C environment, right? So the English culture isn't too foreign from us. Other people who were not have to adapt to that, and that's a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have the right support structure, reacting to that is something of an unknown.
But
because
for him,
you can perform at work,
he can perform, and for
outside
him,
of work, how are you? What are you doing?
But for him, I feel like for him, it's different than any other player, any other South African player. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
He came from the first division in England, and then was able to carry his team to the English Premier League.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be tougher for him to carry his team from the first division to the Premier League? And then why is he failing to cope with the mental fatigue or mental stress of being in the Premier League, where there you just need to be maintaining your the way you are. You don't need to be exceptional, if not exceptional. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But and hence why I'm saying, if we look at his performances on the field, he's performing. He's performing. So the issue for me is not what's happening on the field. The focus is what is off the field and what hasn't he gotten right, or what is wrong with his environment.
Remember, maybe we can speculate. Just speculation. It's not something serious, guys. Don't take it seriously or don't bite your heads off. Maybe there's a girlfriend in Cape Town. Someone has taken him. I'm just making an example.
He's a Joburg boy, by the way.
A Joburg boy. So I mean, it's even better. He's used to be in this environment. Maybe he's not coping with. But my issue is that if he had those problems should have been at the first division stage. Do you understand? Should have been struggling when he was still trying to make himself break through the team and so on and so on and so on. At the first division, in the English first league or something like that.
Yeah.
Now he's in the Premier League. Whatever problem he had, because the Premier League is so cutthroat, that you're supposed to have solved all mental issues and understand where you are by the time you get to the Premier League. Do you understand? Because there's more money, there's more everything.
Okay, and I'm glad you led with that, right? But that is our expectation of him. You know, sometimes you get individuals who say, "Look, all I want to do is play soccer, or play rugby, play cricket, whatever." Right?
Okay.
Having then the right team around you builds that environment for you to focus on playing rugby, soccer, or cricket.
Yeah.
The moment the team is not right around you, you don't have peace. You know, and for me, I'll even bring it closer to home and use a corporate example, right? You might be killing it at work, right? But you've got shitty in-laws that are staying with you and are making your life a living hell at home. Then that affects your personal peace and your opportunity to then recharge, right? And you then are stressed at home and find peace at work. But you cannot live at work. When your home environment stresses you, you're going to break at a certain point. You know? So for me, the focus should be on what is going on around Lyle and what can they change to make sure that this is not a recurring thing. Yeah. Because also it might also be an adaptation thing, you know? Because he's played in Europe for a couple of seasons now, right? And when he was still young, he probably had family around him, and now everyone is like, okay, you are old enough, we need to now go back to South Africa, we've got a home and things like that to look after. So I think more than anything else, until we get more details, we'll send our love and our prayers to him.
Prayers. This is probably for us as South Africans, as the South African,
we want him to succeed so badly.
This is probably one of the biggest blows we've. I think for in the history of our football, this is probably one of the biggest blows we've had.
Yeah.
So I think for us as the South African football fraternity, it's one of the biggest blows we can have as a football fraternity, because one of our star players, basically.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, our star striker. Let's just because he's our elite striker at the moment.
The only one in the EPL. So.
Yeah, the only one in the EPL, and is gone down with a mental issue. That's probably one of the hardest blows to take as a fan of or as an observer of South African football, because we're losing out our superstar, basically.
Yeah, true. And also the unfair thing about mental health, it's not like a physical injury where there's a timeline to say, in 3 months, in 6 months, or in 12 months, you should be fine. You know, mental health doesn't have a timetable, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that also adds
A bit of uncertainty around this whole thing. You know,
yeah.
a bit of nervousness around this whole thing. You know, because it's a blow.
Yeah, indeed. But we must reiterate, we're supporting Lyle and we're praying for him and his family. And we look forward to his recovery and him being on the field again.
Get well soon, brother. We're with you, man. We're behind you as a nation, as a country. For
Exactly.
those, I think some people don't even realize what's going on, but they will be behind you at some stage.
Indeed.